Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Texas 50 Garden. In this episode, we're talking about how to grow okra from the planting stage all the way to the harvest stage and everything in between. So I want to go ahead and do two different beds in this episode. I'm going to do one bed of transplants and one bed of direct seed. So the transplants, I'm going to start the transplants in my garage underneath the grow lights, get those transplants, put them in the garden bed, and then the other one I'm going to take seed directly into the garden bed. So we're going to determine whether it's going to be better to do transplants or direct seeding with okra. So stay tuned and let's get started. So when should you plant okra? Anytime in the summertime between 70 degrees and 90 degrees Fahrenheit is the ideal temperatures to grow okra. So 70 degrees, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That includes nighttime temperatures and daytime temperatures. And the humidity, you want it between 40% and 70%. So usually up north, you're going to have a lot shorter time frame in order to put the seed in the ground and harvest. As far as between that and the south, you're going to have a lot longer time frame in order to harvest your crops. So once you plant the seed in the ground, from planting the seed in the ground until when you start first having your first okra pods come on, it's going to be anywhere between 50 to 65 days, depending upon the variety that you choose. And once it starts producing those pods, you're going to have anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of harvesting that you can do. So in the north, you're going to have, that approximately 50 to 65 days before the pods come on. And then I would say you probably need at least another month to get a decent harvest out of it. So in the north, you're probably going to want at least the minimum growing time between that 70 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit and everything. You're going to need at least 3 months to do that. And so it's in the north, it's really hard to kind of get exactly pinpoint those temperatures. So there's a lot more leeway in the south as far as growing okra. That's why it's so popular in the south. So at 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, okra will stop producing the pods. So like here where I live in southeast Texas, I can go all the way to the end of October, maybe even the beginning of November. So I can start these, my time frame is from probably March, April, all the way to October, November. So it's a huge window or gap where I can grow these things. But up north, it's going to be a lot shorter time frame. So initially, whenever you plant your okra into the ground, you're going to want to plant and fertilize with 1 tablespoon of bone meal. So bone meal has a high phosphorus count. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see right here, the NPK is you'll see that on all fertilizers. NPK stands for nitrogen. The N is nitrogen, P is phosphorus, and the K is potassium. So bone meal has a high phosphorus amount. It doesn't have a lot of nitrogen in it. So the reason we're putting that in there is because phosphorus is it's going to help grow the roots, and it's going to help the seed pods grow. It's not going to do a lot for the leaves. Like, it's not going to grow. If you have a lot of nitrogen, which this one doesn't, that's when you get a lot of leaf growth. So anytime you're growing anything that you want roots or fruits from it, then you want a high phosphorus and a low nitrogen. Whenever you're growing something like a cabbage or a kale to eat the leaves, you want a high nitrogen content. So we're going to put 1 tablespoon of this in there, and this is going to break down over the life cycle of the plant throughout the 3 to 6 months. And then also with that, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of all-purpose fertilizer, granular fertilizer, and this also we want it to be balanced. So this is a 5-5-5. So the NPK is all equal. You can get a 5-5-5 or a 10-10-10, and that's going to break down slowly also and feed the plant slowly throughout the life cycle. So 1 tablespoon of this, 1 tablespoon of this, and then after 2 weeks or so, you can add another tablespoon of the granular fertilizer, all-purpose balanced fertilizer, and then also you can add this liquid fertilizer. So this is you take this and mix it with water. I usually do it in a pitcher like this, and we're gonna put at the beginning you don't want to put a lot of this fertilizer, this liquid fertilizer on the plants, because it can burn them. If you over fertilize, you'll start to see yellowing, and it can actually kill the plants if you put too much of this on there. But this particular one is Miracle Grow tomato plant food. So it's basically, it's made for fruiting plants, so it's not going to be made for stuff that has a lot of leaves and stuff on it. And so at the beginning, at that first 2 weeks, I like to use a turkey baster and pour about maybe half of it on each plant, because you don't want to overdo it and kill the plants. But after that, when they get probably a month in or so, I'll mix them and I'll use this, and I'll just wet the whole area with the liquid fertilizer. So I'll do that every 2 weeks. I'll add the granular and the liquid fertilizer. So do that every 2 weeks until just the end of the life cycle of the plant. As far as watering, you want to water 1 inch per week on the plant. So what I do is I water either every day or every other day. I turn my timer on for about 30 minutes, and it's gonna water through the soaker hoses that I already have in the garden beds. So it's really easy. And the good thing about the raised beds is that it's not gonna get so much water. The water's gonna go through there, and it's gonna take whatever it needs. So you're not gonna have like funguses and stuff building up in the garden. Also shade cloth. At the very beginning, I like to use shade cloth because in southeast Texas we get temperatures 100 degrees when I'm planting these usually, and you can the sun can really kind of stress out the plants when they're really young. So I'll usually keep the shade cloth on until they're about a foot or so tall, and then I'll take them off. And at that point, yeah, you want to go ahead and let the sun, full sun, on the okra plants. It's going to be really good for them. But at the beginning, and it's not necessary, you don't have to put shade cloth in there, especially if you're up north or something, you don't have a ton of heat. It's not going to hurt them. But down here, I like to be safe and use the shade cloth for about 1 foot of that growth. Okay, to start our okra, we're going to do 1 per square foot. And so I've marked my my boards on each side every 1 foot. I marked it with a Sharpie marker. And so here's 1 square foot here, and there's another there. So it's 4 by 8 square feet. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this first one. I'm just gonna take like a cup, kind of pull out a little section, and I'm going to put all-purpose fertilizer. This is what is this? 555 NPK value of 555. So I'm gonna put 1 teaspoon of that. 1 tablespoon of this. Put it in here. I'm gonna take 1 tablespoon of bone meal also and put it in there. I'm gonna mix it around. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 okra plants, or 2 okra in there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cover them up with some seed starting mix. Put a little bit of this seed starting mix on top, and the reason I'm putting that seed starting mix is because that way there's nothing with the seed starting mix. It's a really fine dirt, and so it's easy for the seedling to come up that way. And so I just guesstimate. I think these are so it's supposed to be 3/4 of an inch deep. So we'll just guesstimate 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna go through and plant 2 in each square foot, and then whenever they come up, I'm gonna pick the best one and cut the other ones off. So once we're done putting all our plants, all our seeds in the ground, we're gonna go ahead and take our soaker hoses and we're gonna lay them back over the plants, and then we're gonna go ahead and water in manually. I like to do the first watering in manual, and then after that I'll just come out every morning and I have the soaker hoses on a timer. I'll probably do it for 30 minutes to an hour. Just make sure the whole area is just really saturated so we can get good germination. Another reason that it's good to put some of that the seed starting mix is that you can tell exactly where all your seeds are. So when you're laying your hose out, you can kind of guide it that way. I'll probably just do this the first time, and then after this, I'll use the soaker hose, or sorry, the soaker hose. It's already on the bed. So once we've watered everything in, we can go ahead and protect our bed with something. I have this wood with the metal on top, these metal grate to protect it from cats mainly. My cats like to come in here and use this like a cat key litter box, so this will prevent them from doing that. So it's been about 2 days since I direct seeded the okra into the garden bed, and now I finally have time, and I'm going to go ahead and make my transplants in here in these containers. So these containers, I think they're 2.5 by 2.5 at the top. I think I'm about 3 inches deep. So what I'm going to need is I've got some Miracle-Gro potting mix. You can use any kind of potting mix. The Miracle-Gro has fertilizer already in it, I believe. So I'm going to take that, just fill up about 3/4 of the way with dirt, fill up my container. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have 32 square feet in the bed, so I'm going to go ahead and plant 36 of the okra, and that way I can have 4 extra just in case some of those die. Okay, now that I've filled up all of my pots with potting mix, I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and just make about a 3/4 of an inch hole in each of these, and right in the middle. And I'm going to put 1 seed in each of these because I don't have a lot of seeds, and I'm planting 36 here. So if I were to do 2, then I would not have enough seeds for all these. But if one of them doesn't come up within a certain time frame, then I will replant it. Now that I've put a hole in each one of these in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and take my seeds, okra seeds. I'm going to put drop one in each hole. So once we put a seed in each of the pots, you can go through and lightly collapse the little hole that you created with the dirt you have in there, with the potting mix you have in there, and that'll be okay. But I like to use some seed starting mix, because it is just a finer type of soil, and so then it's going to be easier for the seed to come up, to germinate. So I just put a little bit on top of each one of the holes. You don't have to do this. You can use the current potting mix you have and just put it on there, but this way I know that they're not going to be, so if there's like a big stick or something in the potting mix, it might block the seed from germinating correctly, but this will prevent that. So once you've filled all your holes in with soil, you're going to want to water it, and there's a number of ways to water it. The main thing is that you don't want a lot of water pressure on the trays, because it'll knock some of the dirt out and stuff like that. So we want to water it, but we want to use a light pressure. I like to use this baster sometimes. So you just take it and lightly water the area. So another method you can use to water your plants is to use one of these wands. So I put it on the misting setting, so it's real light. You don't want anything that's going to shoot down there and knock all your seeds and dirt up. So I put on this misting setting, just lightly go over it. Once we've watered our plants, we're going to go ahead and take them and put them underneath our grow lights. And the grow light, we want to adjust it to where it's as far down as it can go. Because if it's too high, when the plants emerge, whenever the seedlings emerge, they're going to try to stretch up and reach for the light. So we want the light really low so that they don't get leggy. Leggy means that they're going to be, if we have the light way up here, they're going to be trying to stretch out, and so it's going to make them a weaker plant, because they'll be stretching out trying to get to the light. But if we have the light right here, they're going to get all that energy right next to them, and they're going to grow healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it right here at the top. So you can see that we don't have a lot of space between the light and our plants. That's how you want it to look. So those seeds that I planted 2 weeks ago, they, out of all 70, I only had 3 of them come up. So I think I had some bad seed. So I went ahead and replanted. Same thing like I did before. This time I bought different seeds. And after 8 days, this is what I have. I have some in the transplants that came up and some that did not. So I'm going to take the ones with the leaves that are showing already like this, and I'm going to put them in my bed right there. Some of them you can see, like this one right here, it has the little seed still stuck to it, so it's not opening it up. So what it's going to keep doing is keep on getting longer and longer until it opens up. So what I can do is take some scissors and gently or somehow take this little seed cap off, and that'll open it up to the leaves, and then it'll be able to have photosynthesis from the light. But okay, so then over here I have my direct seed plants, and some of them in the square foot had none come up, some had up to 3 come up. And so, for example, this one right here came up in this square foot, and I have a little one there, but it's not viable enough. But I'm going to go ahead and take like one of these and transplant it into this square foot here, because all I had come up is this little guy here, and that's not going to be good enough. So I'll show you how to do that. So when we go to transplant our okra, go and dig our hole, and we want to put 1 tablespoon of bone meal and 1 tablespoon of our organic fertilizer. Kind of mix that up in there. This way it's close to the roots whenever they start to go out. Alright, go ahead and loosen up our transplant, and we're going to grab it like this, flip it over, gently shake it out. So now we have it here, and we're gonna put the dirt up probably about halfway, maybe an inch or so, so that everything below that will grow roots out. And remember, we're doing 1 per square foot. So one of the problems I've been having with these okra is I've got caterpillars that are eating them up, eating all the leaves up. So right here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but I have this caterpillar here. I'm gonna go and take him off. So these little caterpillars, they'll go in and they'll eat all the leaves up. You'll just come out, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill him. You'll come out and your leaves, they'll be totally gone. And the caterpillar, they can go through those really fast. They usually come out in the evening, and so if you come out when it's kind of cooler towards the evening or in the morning, you can see them usually crawling along the stems and eating. As you can see, they ate a bunch of this one, and they ate these completely. So what I'm going to do is, since they ate the leaves off these, they're not going to have any photosynthesis. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out and replace them with one of the like I have 2 of them here, so I'm going to put one of them over here. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so when we want to transplant, say I have these 2 right here, I'm going to transplant one of them over here and one of them I'm going to leave there. I'm going to go ahead and dig up both of them. So I'm going to get probably 2 to 3 inches on the outside. That, you know, go down deep on these. You don't want to ruin the root structure, so we're going to go around. Preferably when it's nice and moist and stuff. So it's now we're going to lift up like this. Now we don't want to yank. We don't want to pull on the top and pull the roots like that. We want to get underneath it, and once we get underneath it, we can kind of gently
loosen it, and it should. We don't want to pull the roots at all. We're just going to loosen it up. Eventually, you'll get something that looks like this. So you can see all the root structure there. I'm going to go ahead and bury this probably about halfway. So all from there down it'll be roots. But you can see that caterpillar ate about 1.5 of those, maybe 2 of those leaves. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that one over here next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these old ones that are dead. Really just need one large hole. Take it and you're going to put it down deep in there and then gently cover it back up. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like right there. And then this one that I pulled up, I'm going to grab it, pull off to the side. Remember, notice I'm not yanking it up from the top. I'm pulling it up from underneath the roots. Okay, so we're going to bury this one deeper. So here's this one, and I'm just gonna go ahead and bury it down to right here. Like I said, everything from here down should start to grow roots. You got to be really gentle with these plants. You start pulling and tugging on them. You shouldn't have to use any force as far as yanking them up out of the ground. So there we go. Now we have both of these. Looks like the caterpillar actually ate one of the leaves off this one and 2 of the leaves off that one. So the other thing about caterpillars is if you notice you have a really bad infestation of caterpillars, you can spray it with a chemical called, it's a bacteria called BT. And when the caterpillar eats the leaf, it's going to kill the caterpillar. It only affects caterpillars. It does not affect worms or any other insects. So it's great for if you do have a caterpillar problem. You always tell you have a caterpillar problem because the leaves, they'll be chewed up. Like the stem usually is they'll leave the stem alone, but they'll just chew up the leaf. And eventually you'll have no leaves on there. So after 3 weeks, this is what my beds look like. This is the one that I direct seeded. And the main problem I'm having now is I have caterpillars. As you can see, all of these little bite marks. They're not as bad in this bed, but like this one, for example, it just tore this one apart. So hopefully it lives. I just put some liquid fertilizer on them. And then my other bed over here, these actually I transplanted this side from the other bed, and those 16 over there were the transplants from the garage. So those are looking really good. There's a little bit of caterpillar damage on them, but they're really looking strong. The problem is these ones over here are not looking very strong, and the caterpillars have really torn them up. And I think just also the transplanting them from the other bed into this bed, actually a lot of them died. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some more transplants in the garage, and whichever ones of these are not looking good, I'm going to go ahead and replace them with those new transplants. So the big problem now is just transplant shock and the caterpillars getting them. So in order to kill those caterpillars that are ravaging my okra, I'm going to put this bacteria on them, on the foliage. I'm going to mix it in water here, and it's just going to, the caterpillars, when they eat the leaves, it's going to destroy them from the inside out. And it only works on caterpillars. Like even worms and stuff can consume it and it won't bother them. But yeah, it's just a bacteria. It's safe, it's organic. So I just put a little bit of that
tiny bit into my container there. I didn't really measure it that well, but just takes a little bit and some water, and you're gonna spray it on the leaves, preferably at night. If you don't have any shade cloth, like I have a shade cloth on my okra right now, I think it can burn the plants if you don't have that. So I would say put it on in the evening. That's when the caterpillars are gonna come out and they're gonna eat on the leaves, and this should kill them. So once we've mixed up our solution, it's going to look something like this, like a light brown color. And we're just going to spray it onto the foliage. And hopefully this will get rid of our caterpillar problem, because they are really eating a lot of the foliage. Once the foliage is gone, you can't have photosynthesis and the plants will die. So we got to take care of these caterpillars. So it's been about 60 days since I planted the okra, and the ones that I planted inside underneath the grow lights, they're doing the best. They're probably about 4 to 5 feet tall. I'm 6 foot tall, so you can kind of see the difference. And the other ones that I planted direct seed, they're probably 2 to 3 feet tall. And right now, after that 60-day mark or so, you'll start seeing flowers come on and the seed pods will come on. At this point, you're gonna want to try to come out here every day, every morning, and check and see how big the seed pods are, and you want to harvest every morning, because if the pods are getting too big, then they're going to be too fibrous and they're not going to be worth eating. So just come out every morning, just make it a routine. After about 60 days, check on them and harvest them. So within about 60 days or so, you should start having these flowers set on. That's what they look like, really pretty. And once the flower sets and then it's done setting, it'll go ahead and turn into one of these pods here, your okra pods. And so then when the okra pods get the right size, you want to go ahead and harvest those. If you're enjoying this content, please give it a like and subscribe. So it's been about 3 months since I planted my okra. So the ones over here on this side, these are the ones that I had transplants from the garage into the bed. And these ones over here are the ones that were direct seeded into the ground. So these ones are about, I'd say about 6 feet tall, and these are about 3 or 4 feet tall. So definitely the transplants did a lot better than the direct seeding. So in the future, I'll probably just go ahead and do transplants. I think the reason for that is that in the transplants, I had Miracle Grow in there, so they got a lot of direct feeding right away, and so I think that's why they did so well. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to pick them. Ideally, you want to pick them when they're about 3 inches, no more than 4 inches big. Depends upon the variety. These are Clemson spineless, and so I go with the 3 inches to 4 inches. Anything bigger than that, it's going to get too fibrous and it's going to be hard to eat. So we'll zoom down here and I'll show you what they look like. So whenever we go to harvest our okra, they're always going to be at the top of the plant. Like I said, you want to have about 3 inches or so, but not too much bigger than that. This one is borderline. It might be fibrous, more fibrous than we want it to be to eat. But I'll go ahead and collect a bunch of these, the ones that are ready. Like these ones, all these are not ready yet. These ones just starting, but these two are too small. I'll give these a couple more days, they'll be ready to harvest. This one right here I'm going to harvest, and a bunch of other ones. I'll take them inside and I'll show you how to chop them up. Okay, I harvested a few of these okra, and so I like to get them out, and I kind of line them up and determine which ones are bigger and smaller. The smaller ones are more than likely going to be more tender. So all these are pretty similar size. Like this one's bigger, You can kind of tell which ones are probably going to be more fibrous. The bigger ones, like these two, are a lot bigger, so they're probably going to be more fibrous. I'm going to set those over here. Maybe this one too. Now, if they're small, they can still be fibrous as well. Whenever you're cutting into them, though, you can tell you'll hear like a crunch, and if you hear a big crunch, you know that you want to get rid of that one because it's going to be fibrous. So I usually just cut them all at the same time. So as you hear that crunch there, I can tell that one of them is, I think it's this one right here. If you hear this crunch here, see that? Hear that noise? Sounds like crunchy. So that one's gonna be fibrous because I hear that crunch. Now this one right here, let's see. See how much quieter it is when I'm going through it? That means it's gonna be less fibrous. So that one's gonna be better. It's gonna be nice and tender for when I put it in whatever I'm doing, whenever I'm eating. So I'm gonna throw this one in the compost, the crunchy one. These other ones aren't too bad, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up. I usually like to cut them in, ½ inch, whatever. Put them in a bowl. I've already washed these off, by the way, so you want to wash them off first before you start cutting them. Alright. So I like to start at the top, kind of cut the tops off. So that time, I didn't have any that were really crunchy there, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut them all up. I hear a little bit of a crunch, but it's not real bad. So the tops, yeah, I guess you could try to eat those, but I don't recommend it. I throw the tops all out. They have the stem on them. Let's see. So all these are really tender. Now you don't have to cut them up like this. If you want to cook them whole, like roast them or something, you can do that too. What I do though is I cut these up and then I'm going to put them into baggies and freeze them. Actually, all these are pretty good too. A little bit of a crunch. Okay, so that one there, you hear right here. That the difference between that, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And so you can see this one's not as crunchy as that other one. So we know that's tender. This one's a little crunchy, but not too bad. So sometimes you can't tell by looking at them whether they're big, small. You just have to cut into them and tell that way. And I like to cut them up the day of. That way they don't dry out at all, because if they end up getting dry, then that's when they will get, if they sit out, especially if you have like a dehumidifier or something in the house, they'll dry out and they'll get really crunchy. So as soon as I pick them, I go ahead and wash them off, cut them up, and then I will put these in a baggie and freeze them. You don't want to blanch them or anything, because if you blanch them, it's going to turn to a goopy mess, because they have that jelly type substance inside of them. So I'll put them in 1 gallon freezer bags. Here's the ones that I just cut up, and here's the last probably week and a half or so ones that I've harvested. So just take these, throw them in the freezer, and then you can use them for gumbos, soups, or just roasting in the like the air fryer and stuff. So that's all I have for y'all today. Until next time, God bless and have a good day.